The Detroit Lions get worked over by the Bears 28-13. They now fall to they are the 3 seed in the NFC. They fall to 9-4. And it seems like they are losing pace with those elite teams in the NFC that we talked about earlier in the show, whether it be the Cowboys, the Niners, and even the Eagles. It's been a troubling trend for Detroit over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And today is the game they lost to the Bears. They could have lost the one they played a couple weeks ago. But again, just a continuation of the slide that we have seen from the Lions here over the last month or so.
Yeah, mostly the defense. It's the defense has the stuff that we were maybe worried about that was kind of they had answers for it in the first half, or at least were playing above their weight, punching above their weight, kind of has been rearing its ugly head. And Justin Fields is a terrible matchup for them because the QB run game stuff, it seems to be giving them lots of issues. But they're bottom 10 in all the yards, all the stats that we like to tout on the show, success rate, explosive play rate, EPA per play, yards per play, bottom 10 at all of those. The game after week 7, they played the Ravens. So since week 8, they're bottom 10 on all those stats. So since they kind of got exposed a little bit on film, and that's what will happen in the NFL. Once you get put on tape, sometimes teams will attack it. I think that it is an issue, and I'm trying to figure out what their answers are. Aleem McNeil is now on IR. Like, that was a guy that broke out for them in the front. Their linebackers seem to be giving them issues week in, week out. And I just it's kind of straining them right now. I think the offense still can find answers when Goff will have his moments, but he also have his moments where he's ripping those in breakers, and they can still design it with the
one
best.
Today, man, that was insane. It was the fourth down one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the fourth down dig that he threw that was just, he had no business even letting that thing go. And it was complete, and it was a ridiculous throw. But those moments were few and far between for them on offense today. And the defense, here's what's worrying about the defense. It just feels like they've settled into the 2022 Lions defense, whether that be schematically, personnel. I know they've changed the way they play in terms of the structure of the defense, but just how static it feels reminds me of what they looked like a lot last year. And now the personnel is just pretty much the same. Jerry Jacobs is back as an outside corner. Jerry Jacobs was a nice story early in this Lions trajectory, but there's a reason that they went out and tried to improve at corner this year. He got burned on that huge 4th and 13 play that ultimately swung the game, but they picked on him a couple times in this game. Melifonwu's not now back at safety because Tracy Walker wasn't playing well enough. So now these characters that feel like season 2 Lions characters that we thought had been replaced by more big name, higher paid actors. These guys are back. And that's true in the secondary. And then at linebacker, they're just consistently having issues and consistently getting picked on. You can see the moment where Jack Campbell's brain explodes on the DJ Moore rushing touchdown. When DJ Moore motion took the snap, they have Justin Fields coming back in motion around him. So I think that the fake is we're going to pitch it back to him. He's going to throw it. Jack Campbell just never moves. On the entire play, he just never moves. You could see his brain explode as DJ Moore runs for that touchdown. And there were plenty of those. Anzalone got picked on a few different times today. Yeah. Campbell got picked on a few different times today. And the secondary and their front four, there just isn't as much juice as you want it to be. And there just isn't as much juice as there are from some of these other really good teams that we're talking about in the NFC. You can feel the gap between their defensive personnel and the really good teams in the league. And I thought that might have been a possibility coming into the year. They played really well for the first half of the season, but they have settled back into that sort of group now.
Yeah, and then they'll just have some moments of slump. Like Hutchinson is a nice pass rusher, especially from the inside. But he's not really getting any help. And so when he might have a botch, the Justin Fields touchdown, they're running a game, and I think he admitted this after the game that he kind of went rogue on it. But the thing is, they don't have the talent right now to overcome that. You see the Cowboys do this all the time. They will let a guy break contain because they run all this chaotic stuff. The 49ers as well. But then you watch those guys recover, and then you understand why they can do that, because then they can close that speed and force it a throwaway. But again, Fields is just erasing angles because of how fast he can run. But that's a thing. You're gonna be, if you want to play against the big boys, they're gonna do that against you. They'll attack that. But also, I want to give props to the Bears defense, because
I was about to, baby.
Oh boy. I don't know if I want to go stat or scheme here, but I'll go scheme here real quick. Their third down stuff was really good from a couple plays. How they played bunch sets, which is how they.
It was beautiful to watch.
They had
It
different
was
plans for it. It was great.
beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
There were two of them. We could talk about them. There were two of them
Okay.
that jumped out to me. There was a 3rd and 10 on the opening drive
When Goff got
and
sacked, right?
when Goff got sacked. So that
Yes.
gets home. They passed it off beautifully. And Kyler Gordon, and as the nickel,
He's
you
playing
need to be a
really
good
well.
communicator. And him being a fulcrum to the defensive communication just in this game and overall was huge. And then they had a 3rd and 11 in the 3rd quarter. Again, same sort of deal. Just beautiful communication. They passed it off. There was emotion attached to it.
Yep.
So their ability to deal with those sorts of looks on 3rd down in this game and just how adept and quickly they're communicating through that stuff and passing it off is so cool to see. It's a secondary that's growing up together, and that's very encouraging.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because the communication there, the first example, the 3rd and 10, where Goff gets sacked, because it ends up being a coverage sack essentially. Because Goff is pretty good at finding that first answer. And if the play gets longer, is when you get worried about Goff. You want that ball out in 2.5 seconds, otherwise it's an issue. On that, Kyler Gordon gives a top hat signal. Khalif Raymond comes in motion there. And this is what the Lions spam. This is what Ben Johnson and the staff are really good at. They create all these leverage advantages. This is how Amon-Ra St. Brown eats, is creating all these leverage advantages. He catches it, gets that 14-yard gain. It's so frustrating. So they do that motion. And what top hat is it tells Kyler Gordon was pressed with the other receiver. And what top hat tells is that now he has the off-ball receiver when they create a stack. And the off-ball corner has the guy that was the point man, the on-ball receiver. And he catches Raymond basically because Raymond now is motioning into him. They weren't expecting that. And you can see Goff going, shoot. But yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up that example and the later example because they changed their method on the second one. They zoned it off on the same exact motion. And the Lions ran a play to try and take advantage of the top hat because they were expecting the top hat. And the Bears went, and they changed what they did. So it was, again, I love always saying this, but it was I know what you know, what I know, what you know, what I know moment right there. And it was great. So shout out to the Bears defense. They've been playing really well since the Montez Sweat trade. They're 7th in defensive success rate in the NFL. 9th, they're top 10, 9th in EPA per play, 8th in yards per play, 6th in QB hits. 2nd explosive play rate. They've played some really good ball. The DBs are playing really well. The linebackers are playing well, and the front's starting to kind of get home and do some stuff. It's been fun to watch as a neutral fan, Robert.